Hey, I'm in Joshua chapter 15 now, and this is a long chapter about the territories that was given to the tribe of Judah, and it's a little bit dry, but there is a little story in the middle that is pretty significant. I'm going to start reading in verse 16 and go down to verse 19. Joshua chapter 15. And Caleb said, "He who attacks Kiriath-Sefer and takes it, to him I will give Achsah my daughter as wife." So Othniel the son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb, took it, and he gave him Achsah his daughter as wife. Now it was so, when she came to him, that she persuaded him to ask her father for a field. So she dismounted from her donkey, and Caleb said to her, "What do you wish?" She answered, "Give me a blessing, since you have given me the land in the south. Give me also springs of water." So he gave her the upper springs and the lower springs. The One of the ancient practices of marriage, and it's not so ancient in many parts of the world, is an exchange of gifts. And we have echoes of this in our marriage customs in modern America today. But what Othniel did here was provide a bride price. He went and conquered the city of Kiriath-Sefer, and so it was his by right of conquest. But then he gave it to Caleb in exchange for his daughter, and in return, Caleb gave his daughter a significant portion of land in the south, in the Negev. And this is a dowry. So marriage had an exchange of gifts, a bride price from the husband to the bride's family, and a dowry given from the bride's family to the bride that then came into her house when she married her new husband. And if for whatever reason he would divorce her, or something would happen to him, she would still have that dowry as something to fall back on. But the land that Caleb gave her was in the Negev, and it was not the greatest land. It was arid. So she came to him and she asked for the upper and lower springs. Well, she asked for the upper springs, and he gave her both the upper and lower springs. So he gave her much more than she asked for. Now, our modern sensibilities are a little offended by the idea that a father could give his daughter away in exchange for conquering a city. But Torah assumes the right of a father to give away his daughter. In many places it commands parents that they will not give their daughters away to Canaanites, nor take the Canaanites' daughters for their sons. And in places it sounds like it assumes the right of parents to give away both their sons and daughters. But it's especially consistent when it comes to daughters. And this is underscored by Numbers 30, verses 3 through 5. Let me read that. If a woman makes a vow to the Lord and binds herself by some agreement while in her father's house in her youth, and her father hears her vow and agreement by which she has bound herself, and her father holds his peace, then all her vows shall stand, and every agreement with which she has bound herself shall stand. But if her father overrules her on the day that he hears, then none of her vows nor her agreements by which she has bound herself shall stand, and the Lord will release her because her father overruled her. Now, it explicitly says that a father has the right to cancel the vows of a daughter. So she cannot marry someone that he disapproves of. He must give his consent. And it implies that he has a right to give his daughter. Now, of course, a wise father would also work with his daughter to make sure that she marries someone that she doesn't despise, that is compatible, that will take care of her. And it's very possible, even probable, that Caleb and his daughter, Achsah, had discussed this ahead of time, and they might have even discussed it with Othniel. He might have been her pick, and Caleb might have told him ahead of time what he was planning on doing so that he could be pre-positioned to take that city when he announced this intent. Now, we might say that this is a cultural thing, that it's not, God didn't command fathers to give away their daughters, and that's absolutely correct. That is not a requirement of Torah, but it does assume the father's right to do that. Now, is that simply a concession to cultural standards? I don't think so. Cultural standards also included idolatry and all kinds of sexual immorality. And God never compromises with any of those things. In all of the don'ts of Torah, there is no compromise whatsoever with cultural norms. In fact, God says over and over again, You used to do this, you're not going to do that anymore. All these people around you do these things, you will not do those things because I hate them. So God does not give concessions to cultural norms. Certainly the Torah is worded and is given within a cultural context. So since it was given in a pre-technological society, it talks about saddles and donkeys and things like that. So certainly the way that the Torah speaks in the specific commands that it gives are given within a cultural context, but it does not allow sin for the sake of cultural concession. That's just not how God operates. So if we are offended or revolted by something that God said was okay, or that God even commanded, such as in the case of vows in Numbers 30, the problem isn't with God or with God's Torah. The problem is with us. This is Jay Carper from American Torah. Be blessed.